What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack, and we have an exciting video for you today. We've spoken about NAT a couple of times on the channel as of late, and they've always got an absolutely fantastic response. People just seem to love these guys. So what I want to do today is compare them to who is potentially, the second most spoken about oil tanker stock right now, DHT. I want to see how they've done in comparison to each other, and which one, if you do want to buy an oil tanker stock, is going to give you the best returns. Which one is valued the best right now, which one has the most upside potential, which one's safer, because we know NAT has gotten an awful lot of attention in the media from small channels like me and loads of other guys on YouTube, but then from bigger guys like Jeremy from Financial Education and Jim Cramer on CNBC. And all of this media hype has without a doubt affected the stock's price. So the question has to be asked now, is this stock overpriced despite falling 40% from its previous highs? And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to figure out which one of these two companies is giving you a better opportunity to get into an oil tanker stock. And I just have to say, guys, thank you all so much for hitting 3,000 subscribers. I woke up this morning, I went onto the YouTube app and I seen it. It was an amazing feeling. The goal was to hit that by Monday morning. We hit it by Friday morning. You guys are absolute beasts. I love you all. If you're not a part of the family yet, please hit that red button, man. I want to keep this growth going. As always, please make sure to like this video and drop me a comment. That helps me out massively. It'll push this video to more people, and you will be supporting me for completely free, baby. And if you keep showing the support on these videos, I'm going to keep making them. It's that simple. So with all of that being said, let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's get into the details. Let's break these stocks down and what's happened this last month or so and see what we think is the better stock. So there is quite a bit to go through. DHT have actually released their Q1 earnings, so it's going to be very interesting to look at that and to see how the stock reacted, because we can expect NAT to do something similar. But what I want to start off is just comparing USO, so US oil, NAT and DHT all against each other. In my last video, we kind of touched on when USO goes down, these oil tanker stocks in general should move up somewhat. And same goes when USO goes up, these oil tanker stocks should begin to go down. It just makes sense. So this grey line here is USO, you can see up here. NAT is the blue line and DHT is the orange line. We're looking at a 1 month chart right now, and we can see that what I just said makes sense. USO started to go down and both of these stocks started to go up. We saw a relatively big dip and we saw them both go up a little bit more aggressively, okay? Then what happened? Everything started to level out a little bit. USO going a little bit down, these going a little bit up, makes sense. And then what is going on here? What made NAT jump so much higher in price than DHT? Look at the date for me. So up here you're going to see the date right here at close, the 24th, then it goes into the 27th. What happened there? This right here is what happened, okay? On the 25th of April, so during the weekend, okay, Nordic Marine Tankers CEO, I have never seen such a strong market. He was on with Jim Cramer, he was on CNBC, 70,000 people saw this video, and around this time, a lot of people, like Jeremy on Financial Education, me, and loads of other small and medium-sized YouTubers were all speaking about this stock. And so I wasn't lying in my last video when I said a big part of the reason they jumped up to $8, $9 was because of the media. And look, it is quite clearly true. Look at this jump. And if you think maybe it's just because they were doing so well, let me just show you something else. I prepared this chart. Again, this is USO, this is a load of oil tankers, and this is NAT. So again, all of these guys are doing very well right now. They all share the exact same business model. Why did NAT have this massive jump? It's because the media did not put near as much attention on any of these smaller guys. So I've had a lot of people asking me, do I think $5 is the bottom for NAT, or do I think it could go back lower? And just judging by what we're seeing, judging by where most of the other oil tanker stocks that haven't had as much media attention but have still performed extremely well, they're still quite low in comparison to NAT. I do believe that they could potentially have lower to go. What I think is particularly important now in regard to NAT is that we can't expect to see a jump like this again. There's already been so much optimism in the market. If the same people came out with the exact same videos again, it would not create the same amount of hype. We're not going to see something crazy like this in a matter of 2 or 3 days again, more than likely. What we can expect to happen now is slower movements, either up or down over time. So when I look at this chart, comparing it to multiple oil tanker stocks, I think that DHT could be at fair value, or considering that they are one of the bigger players, they could even be ever so slightly undervalued. But when I look at NAT, the pricing just doesn't look attractive anymore. And I've already made my stance clear. I'm not going to be getting into any oil tanker stocks for the record, and I'm not a financial advisor. This is all just for entertainment purposes. But this was just the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention, because I haven't seen many people bring up this point of just how much of an impact the media had on it and what that could lead to down the line. We all know when things move unhealthily in one direction, generally they're going to move unhealthily in the next, and that's exactly what we saw. massive upwards movement and then a massive downwards movement, and we're back to where it all kind of started, to be honest. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at DHT's Q1 earnings and just try to summarize them a little bit, see just how well they're doing, and then we'll make estimates of just how well NAT are doing, and compare the two to an extent. Very quickly, DHT are currently holding a dividend yield of 11.18%. Obviously it's not safe. 327% dividend growth in a year generally isn't the safest, okay? And the main thing I want to say is they have 27 very large crude carriers with a capacity of 8,360,850 deadweight tons. So they have massive, massive fleets. And everybody's speaking about NAT's dividends and why that's one of the reasons people want to hold them for a few months. Look at the dividends these guys had in the past. More than a $20 dividend in 2006. The stock price was about $150 to $170, but still, that's a massive dividend. But again, just look what happens. Where are we? It just dies off very, very quickly, and it's been next to nothing as of late. But anyway, DHT's Q1 earnings, the first quarter of 2020. And I want to point out that for these companies, it's going to be the Q2 and Q3 earnings that are actually, spectacular. That's the earnings that everybody's looking forward to, where we'll actually see just how much money these guys are making. So don't be shocked if these numbers aren't as high as you would expect. They are doing absolutely fantastically. It's just we don't see a lot of the profit yet. The fourth quarter of last year was also absolutely fantastic. Just look at shipping revenue, 211 million. Last year, 191 million. Q3 2019, 104 million. So in the space of, half a year, double that shipping revenue. Absolutely fantastic, amazing stuff. Same can be said with net revenue. We've gone up and we've absolutely smashed Q3 2019. And the dividend, we already kind of saw that, is very nice. So just to break it down into easy numbers, our spot vessels earned 66,400 a day during the quarter, combined with a good showing from our ships on the charter with 54,000 per day during the period. Our fleet earned on average $64,400 per day in the quarter. What's very promising going forwards, and why Q2 and Q3 should be absolutely fantastic. As of today, they've booked 66% of spot capacity for the second quarter at 110,400 a day. So that's a lot more than they were charging beforehand. So they have an awful lot of business coming up, and they still have room for more business. So they're still going to be working hard to fill up every single one of those vessels for every single day that they possibly can, while charging as much as they possibly can. What happened despite these absolutely fantastic earnings? We tanked. We went way down Tuesday the 5th. The next day, 6th, we went way down again. So, despite the fantastic earnings, they're still moving down. A lot of people are banking on NAT's next earnings report, thinking that that's what's going to shoot them back up to past $9, and I most certainly do not see that happening. There's already so many people who bought at prices they're not happy with. You can see if you go through the comments on my last video. So many people are in $6, $7, even $8, and they're very reluctant to sell, okay? These people aren't going to buy more shares just before earnings when they're already down, 20, 30, 40%. That's not going to happen. So to get the amount of volume that needs to be gotten to push the stock up that high, I don't see it happening just because earnings are coming out. And keep in mind that the earnings no doubt are going to be good, but they're not going to be anywhere near as good as Q2 and Q3. So they're not going to push the stock price near as much as those earnings will. This is just a clear case though. On this day, all oil tanker stocks went down. Because USO went up, it didn't matter that their earnings came out. So just keep that in mind. A lot of these stocks are moving, not even based on how well they're doing, just based on how oil is doing. So we just saw how much DHT is charging as of right now and how much they actually have booked up for the future. When we get that information for NAT, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. But the most up-to-date information we have is short-term spot rates average 112,000 a day for the week of April 24th. So that was a massive increase on what we knew beforehand. I have gone through this before, but really quickly, they were 17,300 a day in 2018, 30,600 a day in 2019, 62,600 a day in 2020, and 112,800 a day for the week of April 24th. So the growth in the matter of a few weeks was absolutely insane. And despite the insane prices, there is still room for more growth. Keep in mind that if the people who are producing all of this oil were to sell right now, they're not going to make near as much money as they may well do, in a good few months down the line, in anywhere from 3 to 9 months down the line. And that's exactly why these guys are short-term investments. You don't expect to hold on to these guys for decades like you will Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, or anybody else along those lines. These guys are a short-term investment. And this is just one more line that outlines that so well. If the June contract trades at -$10 and the July contract trades at $20, An investor could spend 1 million a day on storage and break even. So these oil tanker stocks still could start, charging a whole lot more money. But we can see that both of them are charging very similar amounts, per vessel. What I will really be looking out for when NAT releases their next quarter earnings is how much business they have coming up. How many days do they already have contracts for in the future, and what will they be charging? If they're doing better than DHT in that regards, then I could see reason for NAT to, actually go up higher than DHT. But right now, we don't have that evidence and we don't see those reasons. I think that essentially any oil tanker stock has absolutely immense short-term potential. It just depends on when you get in. If you get in at the right time, if you're one of those unlucky guys who buy on the hype at $7 or $8, it could be a long time before you see any money, and it's not going to be the hundreds of percent that people who buy down at the bottom will see. Just keep that in mind. A lot of people are speaking of all of the potential that these stocks have, and I agree, there is an awful lot of potential, but only if you get in at the right time. If you do your research, if you come up with where you think the prices could go, and if you buy accordingly. Don't just buy off of the YouTube hype. And look, here is a forecast for world production versus world consumption in oil, and it's expected, by Q3, by Q4, that oil production and consumption will be somewhat back to normal. Me personally, I'd be going further into, maybe the end of Q3, the start of Q4, but still, just keep in mind that these are short-term trades. Always have an entry and an exit plan, no matter what happens. If you get in, decide where you're getting out, whether it's at a loss or it's at a gain. I know as a long-term investor, you don't have to set a plan, but as a short-term investor, you definitely do, or else you could risk a whole lot of money, guys. From my point of view right now, okay, I still think NAT is overvalued. I know a lot of people will think I'm crazy for saying that, considering where it was not too long ago, considering it's down over 40%. I still think it's overvalued. On the other hand, I think DHT is relatively fairly valued, potentially ever so slightly undervalued. Does that mean I'm going to buy DHT? No, because I have no interest in these oil tanker stocks. The thing is, I still do see more upside potential for NAT, just purely because of the volatility that could potentially come with media hype. I know earlier on I said I don't see media having the same effect they did back here, but they still could have massive effect. And a lot of people are waiting for their next quarter's earnings. Those next, the day or two surrounding that are going to be very volatile. I think if you want the highest risk, highest reward, which is kind of what these stocks are, NAT is the one. But if you want a little bit of a safer one that still offers massive upside potential, I'd rather DHT. But I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to buy. Please, don't buy these just because I'm speaking about them. I don't want you guys losing money because I speak about a stock. That is where I stand on all of this, on oil tanker stocks in general, on NAT, on DHT. I actually gave my opinion on which one I would rather buy for once. I very rarely do that. Hopefully you guys don't think I'm making too many of these videos. It's just that they're doing the best, and these are the videos that people are asking me for more than anything else, so I want to give the people what they want. Tomorrow or the next day though, I will have a video up speaking about the top 10 stocks I'll be keeping an eye on next week. I know we always enjoy those, so keep the eyes peeled for that. If you haven't yet, please drop this video a like, drop me a comment with your thoughts. If you have a position in either of these companies, or if you plan on opening one, I'm very interested in hearing. Hopefully there's some good stories here, and it's not just everybody telling me they got in at $7 or $8. And again, just thank you so much for the absolutely insane support as of late. It is absolutely nuts to me. It genuinely is just nuts how fast this channel has grown. I'm so appreciative to every single one of you. I seriously am. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video, especially if you made it till the end. You the real MVP. And I will catch you for tomorrow's one. We upload every single day. Have a good day, guys. Peace.